Hello and welcome back to another episode of Doodle Noodles. I'm here with Brian,
Hello, guys. It's me, Boyzilla78, also
and
known as Brian Zeta Corte.
that's correct. And today we are going to be interviewing a somewhat internet legend, Renzo, formerly known as Manboy25. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing all right.
You doing all right?
How are you guys doing?
We're doing all right.
Actually, how about you?
Doing all right.
Doctor,
Doing all right.
We're all doing all right. That's good.
Yeah. All right. Perfect.
All right, so we're here to interview the funny egg guy. So we have some questions, and that we've been burning to ask. So here we go. Our first question.
Andrew, how about you start?
Yeah,
I'll start, Andrew.
I'll start with my first question. How did you get started with YouTube, and who inspired you?
So, how did I get started with YouTube? I'm gonna be honest. A lot of what happened when I was because I started YouTube when I was 12 years old or something crazy like that. So a lot of it, I'm just kind of repressed. I'm just kind of I don't remember a lot of too much of the inner details, I guess. I think it was just I just saw a bunch of animations on YouTube. That was pretty much where I saw most animations was on YouTube. I didn't really grow up with Newgrounds. I think I probably missed out on some stuff, but I mean, yeah, I just saw some stuff and I was like, you know what, that's cool. That'd be cool. And I always loved animated stuff, animations and art and stuff like that as a kid, as a 5-year-old or whatever. So I was like, you know what, I should do that. And so I just made a channel, and I don't remember why, but I didn't upload my first video until a couple months after the fact. But then and then it just started out as an idea, and then that idea just went through an evolution, I guess. So
yeah, it's been through a massive evolution. It definitely has. You started on your DS, right?
Oh god, yeah. Yeah, I was because I didn't know how to actually animate or anything or to even draw. I just or not even that. I didn't even know how to use Flipnote as a kid. So I was just okay, let me just draw some still frames of these weird little doodles and then just in real time voice over everything. But then but then I was also an idiot because I didn't do multiple takes. I did the whole video in one take every single time.
Really?
So I would go back and forth voicing characters. I would be voicing myself and then voicing Mitch or something, just back and forth. And if I messed up, I deleted the video and I recorded it again.
How many tries did it usually take you to go all the way through in one go?
Yeah. We don't have to get into that. There's been a couple times in some videos, I can't think of specific ones, but there's definitely been some times in earlier videos where I messed up towards the end, but I just left it in because I just really did not want to do it again.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we all kind of got started out with it. We started somewhere. It's something, and then you kind of evolution. I'm pretty sure you got your first laptop or something, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah, that was I think that was in between part 1 and part 2 of Flumpty's Pet, I believe.
Oh.
Cause I think before then, cause there was a change in around that time where it went from very obvious MS Paint kind of drawings to Mac MS Paint, but not MS Paint drawings that in part 1, okay, for example, in Flumpty's Pet, part 1 is widescreen and it looks terrible. And then part 2 has black bars on the side, but it looks kind of decent, kind of.
It looks a little bit better because it's Apple. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, I also think I was also using the default color palette that it just gave me, and then Apple just had a better color palette. It just had a more appealing like color palette. The MS Paint color palette was just like ugly. I don't know.
I think
But
that'll. Speaking of Flumpty, I think this will probably be our next question. How did you come up with the funny Tau Fab series at first?
Oh man. Okay, so the first episode. Well, actually no. Okay, the first episode of The Adventures of Flumpty and Blam was actually not the first Flumpty like animation. Well, not animation, but video that I made with Flumpty. It was like
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint PNG like slideshow or whatever. It wasn't the first. I made like a really short, like 6 minute like meme video before that. And I was like, oh, and I was like really getting obsessed with Flumpties because I feel like it's. I mean, I was already like pretty obsessed with FNAF and like Five Nights at Freddy's and all that stuff. But Flumpties was like really like stand out to me because I feel like I kind of resonated with a lot of the setting and like the characters and like the vibe of those games, the first two games. I just kind of connected with it. I felt like it was something, I don't know. I felt like I was like, this is really dumb of me to think this, but I felt like I was almost like the only person that understood like the vibe because every time I saw like a popular YouTuber playing it, they would like constantly be like, "Oh, this is so unserious. This is so like goofy." I'm like, "Yeah, that's kind of the point." And it's like it's not trying to be like FNAF or it's scary or whatever. It's got like jump scares and like creepy imagery, but it's not like trying to be 100% horror like FNAF is, So I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's cool. And I was making I was in the middle of making Animanboy at that time, so I was like, I kind of have this whole series thing down. So I was like, oh, let me just make this like little episode 1 of this little silly Flumpty show. And I was very under the impression that nobody would see it at all. Because I was like, I did not I was like, nobody's gonna see, only like it might show up in like a couple people's feed like because of the algorithm because it's Flumpty or whatever, but I'm like, it's not gonna get that much attention. And then
But boy, you were wrong.
I was wrong. Yeah, I don't want to act like it's like, oh, it blew up or whatever, but I guess it kind of, for my like, I guess it did though, because it has a lot of people like that were really into it and really like it, so it's like, yeah.
Honestly, if I recall correctly, I remember that Ethan Goes it got big enough where the YouTuber Ethan Goes Boom even commented on that. Am I correct?
Yeah, that was crazy. Eth Goes
How'd you feel
Boom
about that?
commented on the first one. I was like really excited because I wasn't like constantly like watching his videos. But I did like the videos that I
You were
did see
aware of
from him.
them.
I was like, yeah, I was like I liked his videos. Like whenever I saw them, I was like, oh, that's really cool. And I feel like I kind of related to the way that he made videos, kind of, even though not really. He's a lot more consistent, a lot more like,
But like,
different style, obviously. But
yeah,
yeah.
but like your Flumpty series is kind of your Flumpty series is kind of reminiscent of like his FNAF series in a way. It's like, but in the Flumpty style.
I guess, yeah.
At the very least, your older content was. I can tell that your newer content is going in a much different direction, but you can at least tell from your older content.
Yeah, my older content was very like, what's the word? Like, I guess more
Very
focused on
unique.
like just, yeah, I guess more focused on like humor and like, I don't know. I don't know. I've been trying to like pinpoint like
Exactly what it
now,
is.
like, yeah, I've been trying to pinpoint like what I was like even on like back then when I was like 12 or 13, like cooking up this stuff. I
Like,
was like, what was I thinking when I like said this? Because
what am I
I don't know.
doing?
No, actually, yeah. Like sometimes like times every now and then where I like go back to my older stuff. And I'm like, oh, what is? Why did I say that? And I'm just like, if anybody sees this now, I really hope that they, understand that I was like 12 years old when I wrote that and I said that. Like,
I think they can definitely tell that a little kid made it, and they were just having fun.
Yeah, and I think that was like the general appeal of it, at least in my opinion.
I've also been trying to figure that out. If like what was, because people liked it. A lot of people like really resonated with it with the early Flumpty like videos. So I'm like, I've been trying to like understand what. I don't know. I've been trying to understand what other people saw about it. And maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just like, let it be and just like, I don't know.
Just kind of let it go on its own.
Yeah. Cause, I'm not trying to like understand it to like replicate it.
Yeah.
Obviously. I can't, it's kind of impossible to replicate something like that.
I mean, for God's Christ, it's Flumpty freaking Bumpty, so I don't blame you.
Yeah. But the thing is that I don't know. I feel like that series was just. I've been realizing that series was like kind of a different take as to like what usual like One Day at Flumpty's parody videos would go. Like I gave Flumpty like a different voice and like I gave characters like lore, and I just redesigned some characters like Grumpus and Breadman. And I still get comments about Redman, like with the little like two like strands of like I still don't know to this day like what those are supposed to be. I just kept
they're
them
his
in
secret hair,
like,
maybe.
Yeah. But I think that was another thing that made the series so appealing to like everyone at the time, because at the time, and especially nowadays, in my opinion, it stands out because of its unique take on the franchise. I remember I even said I remember I even said it in like a YouTube Shorts video I made on your series once. When you announced the revival, I made a YouTube short about it, and I mentioned how it was sort of the unofficial adaptation of the series, if you really think about it, since based on its popularity and its unique take on the franchise.
Yeah. Actually, I actually watched that short, and I thought it was really good.
Brian, you've been noticed.
Yeah. Yeah, it was and yeah, I also remember you mentioned like, oh, where's the series gonna go? Well, it's Flumpty, so like the sky's the limit. Anything could happen. And I was like, yeah. And I feel like that was kind of the appeal with the original game too, was the fact that Flumpty is just like a god. Yeah. Like just a god, and like anything can happen. And like, as a 12-year-old, like seeing like an evil like character like that just be super joyous and like nonchalant about like killing innocent people and like kidnapping them and just doing random like torturous stuff for fun and just being like super oblivious to it. I was like, oh my god, this is amazing.
You can do anything with this.
Like listen, in my opinion, I don't think people really understand the scope of like how powerful Flumpty is, or how powerful he could be, Like, we're talking about we're talking about if fucking Bill Cipher was a Lovecraftian god. Like, actually. I mean, kinda is, but like that times 20.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I don't know. I feel like with the original series, I kind of didn't understand that either. Yeah. But just in my personal opinion, I feel like I didn't do that as well in the original series. But
so you're just like working with this character, but you didn't know how he worked at the same time.
I was more focused on like his just like oblivious like joy to like horrible stuff, rather than him being like all powerful. I was more interested in that side of him.
That makes more sense.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like anyone in your shoes would focus more on the absurdity of Flumpty, because let's be honest, he was literally born to be this absurd character.
We don't know how we don't know how he was born, but he was born somehow.
Yeah. Actually, while we're on the topic of Flumpty, may I ask another question?
Go for it.
This is a question I've been wondering the most lately, especially after the revival. I I've noticed that you've had a more positive outlook on Flumpty as of recently compared to how you used to view it back then. After you canceled it, how is that? And as a follow up question as well, what motivated you to revive that series again as of recently?
Well, I think I was very like I got to a point. I don't remember exactly when. My memory is like very bad, by the way.
Take
I
your
got
time,
to a
man.
point. I got to a point like after like during the making of episode 4, the original episode 4, um, where I kind of stopped working on it, and then I don't know, it was like it was a big series of events that led me up to, I guess, my disdain for the
Hmm.
original series and like
Hmm.
all of my videos before that.
Hmm.
And it was a lot. It was a lot of stuff that led up to that, but I got to a point where I just kind of hated like everything about my channel and like what people, I guess, recognize me for.
So so
Um,
so correct me if I'm wrong. Kind of like self hate, kind of, or is it, or would you
yeah,
say something different?
I would say it was self hate actually, but
Mm.
I didn't realize that at the time. I didn't realize it was just me like hating myself, because I mean that's what it is. If you just hate your like own creation and your own like art that much, that's just like, you know, that's a part of
Yeah.
you that you're hating on
Yeah.
pretty much.
Exactly. And that can like really be stressful for like anyone. I've been through that type of stuff before.
Hmm.
I think we all have at some point in
And
our lives. I've definitely unlisted a ton of videos I just really
same
hated.
here. I mean,
Hmm.
like me and Andrew over here, we get you, man. Like we literally want like not too long ago. Like I feel like at least a couple years ago, we went off personal crusade on our own channels because just like you, we had our own disdain towards our older videos.
Hmm.
So trust me, we get where you're coming from.
For example, I had this like really cringy like Mario plush series that I like made constantly. At one point, I
Mm-hmm.
just like looked back, like watching all the episodes. I just absolutely hated them. I didn't like my humor. Other people seemed to kind of like it, even though it wasn't like super popular. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
no, I'm done, and I unlisted every video, and I just never
Yeah.
returned to it.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Uh, Kind of similar with me, but honestly, I was just more mad at like the sheer shitty quality of my old videos.
Same here.
Mm-hmm. So,
Yeah.
but
Um,
and honestly, I wanted to like ask about like that self hate of yours. When you put it into retrospect, do you regret having that self hate, or do you think in a weird way it was like good for you to like move forward? Like what's your take on all of this in retrospect?
um, it's weird because
Yeah.
I wanna have like one answer. I wanna either say yes, it was bad to have that self
Mhm.
hate, or no, it was ultimately a good thing, because it's kind of both.
Exactly, because
Um,
it's a very nuanced thing. It's a very nuanced answer to give, you know.
yeah, because I hate that I had that self hate, because I feel like it got kind of bad to the point where I let it spiral into like I let the self hate like spiral into hate of others, which is like
Yeah.
a huge like regret that I have.
Mhm. Yeah.
I remember like there was a point in time where I hated the Flumpty videos so much that I was like starting to call people that enjoyed it like dumb or whatever. I was like, how could you possibly like this? This is so stupid.
Hmm.
This means you have terrible taste for liking this or whatever. And I mean, I was like a teenager, like when I was thinking this, I was like 16, but
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a lot of aspects I hate about myself when I was 16. But
Mhm.
Te-
um
teenagers do weird
I
things, man. I get it.
Yeah. Mhm.
it was just a dumb time. And of course I regret all of that. And of course I don't want to be that again. I hope I don't become that like again. But at the same time, yeah, because of that, I feel like maybe my, I guess, newfound appreciation for like my older stuff like came to be from that. Maybe it wouldn't be as strong if it wasn't like a self hate kind of thing. Um, because
so, like, in a
now,
weird,
yeah, because I
so, like,
still
in a weird,
don't, yeah.
so,
What are you
sorry,
saying?
sorry, continue. So, sorry,
Oh no,
continue.
yeah, you can say.
Uh, I'm really sorry if I keep interrupting you, but like, basically, in a weird way, it's sort of, in a weird way, it made you learn. Like that pain made you learn how to appreciate it. Again, I'm sorry if I keep
Mm-hmm.
interrupting. But...
Oh no, you're good.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like that, yeah. Because now I still don't really like my older videos. Honestly, I wouldn't. Let's just say I wouldn't show them to somebody. Like, I wouldn't show these older videos to somebody. I could
Mhm.
show um like my newer videos to somebody. I could show blank canvas to somebody and be like, "Look, I made this." I could show the new part of a Flumpty and show somebody that and be like, "Look, ignore this is that the title says part 2 episode 4. You don't have to watch anything else that came before that. Watch this one." Um I
So I
still
feel you,
don't
dude.
yeah. I personally just don't like my older stuff just because just in terms of like the quality of it. But I do like appreciate them and I'm glad that I did make them because of the fact that people resonated with it and people got enjoyment out of it. And that was ultimately like the realization, I guess, that people legitimately like really liked the Adventures of Flumpty and Blam, and people what really surprised me was people legitimately liking Animanboy. That was like really like like a hit to me because I would see like I don't know I would see people anything not based on Flumpty, not based on like any IP or anything. That's just like whatever, just like its own little thing. But then seeing people like really enjoy that was like another huge like turning point for me. I was like, okay, how can I like I don't know, I just started asking myself, I'm like, okay, how could I hate this stuff if people like legitimately liked it? And that was just something that took me a while to realize that when people say that they like something that they're legitimate about it, they're not just saying it just because you know like they have to have like the same experience as I do whenever I really like something like I don't know I can't even think of like an example but just
Ed's
something or
World, maybe.
whatever.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's that's actually a good example. Yeah, Ed's World, because I mean I was
Wait,
really
what was the
into that when
example?
I was like
Ed's World.
Ed's World.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a good example because I was like really into that like when I started making videos. It was like kind of a I guess inspiration, I guess.
Mhm.
I have a couple of inspirations, but I mean yeah, that's like one of them.
I can see a couple elements from Ed's World being put into your videos, mostly Animanboy, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which,
It,
what
Mhm.
was?
But wait.
Go ahead, Brian.
Before we continue, actually, I wanted to like ask like a few more things about Flumpty. So
mm-hmm.
like, to clarify, um, so it was that that self appreciation you eventually came to is that what motivated you to like revive Flumpty, or was there like a second factor to it?
Oh yeah, my bad. I didn't. I just realized I
No, no,
didn't
no,
answer
no,
the
no, no, no.
question.
God damn, it's fine. Don't worry.
I didn't answer the question. So yeah, reviving the series was like an idea I've had for a bit, probably like a
Really.
year now. But it was never like an idea that came into like fruition or like went
Mhm.
far. It was just like an afterthought. It was like, oh, that'd be kind of
Yeah.
funny if it got brought back or whatever, or if I
Mhm.
brought it back and I just like made it like actually like something like decent or whatever. And I
Mhm.
was like, and earlier this year, I think earlier this year was like the point where I was like, I went with it because I had an idea of where the story that I wrote for like the original episodes where it could lead to. And I had like an idea, and then that idea turned into like a bigger idea. And then I was like, hold on, if I were to structure this, then this would be like its own episode, this would be its own episode. And then that's how I came to, the whole like 4 like final episodes after this thing just because I have it all like laid out. So it was really just like an idea that just came to me and I was like, you know what? I made blank canvas. I can make something. I'm like that looks kind of decent, looks decent, looks like something I could like show off or whatever. I really wanted to make this series into something that I'm not like cringing at because again, like I'm not saying that like people that like the original videos are like, oh, how could you like them or whatever. It's just a personal thing for me. Like personally, I wouldn't be able to watch them personally, but I get that people really liked them, and that's really awesome. I'm like really, really like grateful that people were like connecting with it and like entertained by it. That's like really cool to me. But me personally, I wanted to like bring it back to like make something that's like, okay, this is something that I could actually say that I made and feel like good about it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. So basically, like your modern take on the series that you once started.
Yes, but I guess I'm not gonna like spoil anything, but
Yeah,
it
yeah, of
is
course.
gonna, yeah. But I feel like I'm taking like a different direction, or at least an unexpected direction with it that I'm hoping people are still gonna be into. It's not gonna be like super, super different, I don't think, but it is gonna be, different, obviously, because it's like
we're
almost
definitely
10
into
years.
it.
Almost 10 years later, so yeah.
Are you gonna pull a FNAF 4 and say it was all in Flumpty's head?
Yeah, it was all a dream.
It was all a
It was
dream.
all a dream.
Everybody dies.
I think we'll just pick it up with our next question, which my personal question was how Animanboy started. Is that all right with you?
Yeah. How Animanboy started. So I mean, Animanboy was the first that was my first video that I
Yeah.
made. Just the first
Cool.
episode. And it was basically just me trying to replicate the vibes of Ed's world. And I do also want to shout out like another channel that really inspired me around this time, Movie Unleashers. I don't know if you guys heard of
I know
heard of
who he
him.
is.
Yeah. His videos were really like a big inspiration for me around that time. And I do wish he has a good amount of fans, good following, but I don't know. I still wish it's not enough. He should have more.
I remember he was like
Cuz
referenced
yeah.
in one of your episodes. You were like, "No movie Unleashers," or
Oh my
something like
god,
that.
yeah. I also referenced iFunny in that very same video.
You did.
Oh, you did.
Very topical. Very topical,
Oh,
yeah.
ooh, spicy.
I funny.
Very topical. Yeah.
Does that even exist
I
anymore?
was
Fuck, I
Yeah,
don't
they
know.
got like it's like a Twitter account, and it's like a brand Twitter account that's like trying to be like Opera
Oh, hey,
GX or something like
youngsters.
that. But like, yeah.
How do you do, fellow kids? Type shit.
I guess so, but their approach is just being like terminally online and like rude, I guess,
Uh,
or
Oh,
something. I don't know
lovely.
what they're doing. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what any brand account is doing. The Wendy's Twitter account has had disastrous effects on the human race. Is all I'm gonna say.
Exactly.
so was the Norman the North Twitter account.
Oh my god, you're right.
Oh no, that was great. Come on,
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
that was a
That was
good one.
great. Anyway,
You said North of the North, and
yeah,
I thought
Norman the North.
for a second I was thinking of the what's that tweet? It's like when the cold brew hits, but that's not North of the North.
I
That's
don't
like
think.
something else.
I'm not entirely sure.
Snow Dogs, I think was the movie. I think
No dots.
Snow Dogs.
was it? I don't know.
Who knows?
Something snow
A
related.
lot of Twitter accounts nowadays try to be like trendy and hip with the kids.
Yeah.
Surprised they haven't tweeted about freaking Skibby Toilet or something.
God.
And complaining.
This is gonna
Complaining
be
sells on Twitter.
pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so back to the whole Animanboy fiasco. Like, was there a story you had in mind, or was it just kind of whatever you thought of? I guess, if that makes sense.
Like episodic.
It was literally just like whatever, because the whole Animanboy series is just like it was just like whatever I was like feeling at the time, because there's really no like story or like central like vibe, at least I don't think, like central vibe to like the Animanboy series. It's just kind of each episode is just kind of its like own thing, which I guess is kind of like I guess that was like the appeal, I guess. But it started off as me trying to replicate like the vibe of like early Ed's World and like movie Unleashers kind of, and then it just kind of just became like whatever I was like fixated on, I guess. Like the fourth episode, I made that when I was like really hyper fixated on the movie The Great Mouse Detective.
Yes.
and and I just made the whole climax of that episode. I just ripped the climax of that movie off.
You used like the same
That
music
was
and
funny.
shit too, right?
Literally the same music and like the same timing of everything and like what happens. And I was just like, I just came up with whatever just to set up that climax. I was like, how can I get these characters on like a high like rooftop? No reason. Let's just put them on the high rooftop and
Why
then
not?
let's
Just
have
fuck it.
that.
Let's go
Yeah,
for it.
let's do that. Yeah, and then yeah.
I don't know why, but I think my personal favorite character from the series was Kid.
Oh yeah, that was honestly, I don't know. He might be my favorite also. I just think I don't know. I think however old I was, what 15, 14? Like I think I was kind of cooking when I came up
You
with
were kind
Kid.
of cooking.
Hey, you were cooking.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd ever?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna ask. Do you think you'd ever bring it back, just like you did with Flumpty, or nah?
I got asked that, and honestly, I think not, but at the same time, I also never thought I was gonna bring Flumpty back, so I can't really say for sure.
Just never
I
know what could
just,
happen.
yeah, I just think it's less
Never.
likely, just because of the fact that Animanboy was more episodic. Flumpty, the original Flumpty videos were like had like kind of a story, and it was like kind of leading up to something. Like by the time I left it off, Animanboy is literally just like episodic. Like everything goes back to status quo after the end. And
Just kind of shenanigans all around.
yeah,
Kind of
and I
like,
also don't. Yeah, I
kind of
also
like
just don't like.
SpongeBob.
Yeah, I also just don't like. After I don't like including like a self insert of myself anymore. I kind of want to stray away from doing that. Um,
That's fair.
I wanted to
Completely.
make a blank canvas kind of like the last time I did that. Even though even in blank canvas, I tried to avoid because really I'm not calling myself Renzo or the characters Renzo. I'm not really calling them like in that video. I'm not calling them anything, and it's kind of a standalone thing so that I could just show somebody it, and then they don't even have to have the context of like my channel or like if the character is even like a pre-existing character or whatever. It could just be like they could just see it as like, oh, it's the character from this like short or whatever. And that
Yeah,
So
was like
basically,
yeah.
something very standalone-ish.
Yeah, I wanted to make that video standalone-ish, but you know, subtle like references, nods to like older videos, of course.
yeah. I remember I was like,
But
whenever
yeah.
that's one scene of like your younger self, it was like flashing a bunch of images through their eyes. I remember like pausing it to see if I referenced anything, and I saw like a screenshot of the pizza delivery video you made.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, there's like it's like a bunch of screenshots in that. Like there's also like a screenshot of one of the Flumpty episodes, and then I think like actually no, that's really the only one that or one I remember. But yeah.
I didn't see every image. I just kind of that one kind of caught my attention because it's kind of hard to pause it every second.
Hmm. Yeah.
But anyway, what was it like working on Blank Canvas? Because that was a very interesting video. I actually
Yeah,
very much loved it.
it was really beautiful, definitely.
Oh, thank you. Blank Canvas was very hard for me to work on, not because of like some emotional state I was in. I mean more of like actually just hard to like sit down and focus and concentrate on making that video. I have been working on that video for probably like a year, but not like just straight doing nothing but working on it for a year. Like just being on and off on it because the idea for that video changed, I want to say like 4 times. Like I
Really?
rewrote the whole script and the whole like way that it was gonna go, probably like 4 or 5 times. Cause the original idea for that video was like a 2-minute at most kind of like little short kind of just like referencing stuff or whatever. And it was gonna be like a vent like thing I was making.
Mhm.
Cause I hadn't drawn, I hadn't animated, I haven't really done that much of anything before then. Like in between pizza delivery and then, I really haven't like I hadn't drawn anything or like tried animating anything or tried to do anything except for like I don't know a couple of like random dumb stuff, but really not that much.
Hmm.
And it was me trying to get back into form, and I don't know why I chose to do a 9-minute like ambitious like animation to like try to get back into that, but I did that, and but like I said, that wasn't the original idea. It was like it just changed endings over and over and over again because I felt like it could. I don't know. I just kept making it more. I guess I don't know. I kept adding on to it, but not. I tried also not to make it like just a jumbled like mess or whatever.
Yeah.
I do also want to add that I did change that video whenever I was like in a different mindset because when I first started working that video, I was a lot more pessimistic and I was a lot more like the ending of that the ending of like the original video was kind of depressing. And then I think the second time I rewrote it, looking back on it, if I went with that idea, I feel like if I uploaded that and I finished it, people would like reach out to me and be like, "Yo, are
Really?
you okay?" Yeah, I mean, I don't want to get into it, but like, I feel like if I made that idea, I feel like people would be concerned.
They would
So I'm
probably
kind of
like
glad I didn't.
give you
I'm
Shit.
glad I didn't. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't go with that idea. And then the
Mhm.
idea I went with the final like rewrite and the final video that I ended up finishing was a lot more hopeful than the other ideas. It was still very like towards the middle it was still very like I guess what's the word vulnerable I guess or like
Okay.
yeah, but I wanted to end it on like a more hopeful but still like realistic like ending. I feel like
Yeah.
that was like the way to do it because it was like legitimately the mindset I was in at that point. I was a lot more like I was feeling bad about a lot of stuff, but I was still hopeful about like the future kind of. But before then I wasn't. And especially not during the whole period of like self-hate and like thinking all my videos are terrible or whatever. And
Mhm.
that was like really around the point where I started like kind of accepting like all my older videos and being like, you know what, these are I'm glad I made these and I'm glad that I put these out there and I'm glad that people watch them.
just kind of a
Um
legacy you left on the internet.
it was which is also really weird thinking that if you searched up there was a time if you searched up Flumpty that the adventures of Flumpty and Blam would show up. And that was like really surreal to me. Like looking back on it, I was like, wow, that's weird. I mean, I'm really happy again. I'm really happy that people enjoyed it and people watched it. I don't know. I still can't like fathom that to this day. Honestly, it's like really weird to me. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think I'm sure a lot of other YouTubers would probably have the same reaction you did. Like, it's so surreal. That's the first thing that pops up whenever you look it up or whatever. I think a lot of
Hmm.
people would have the same reaction as well. I definitely would, because like my personal project, Wacko Rewished. Whenever I look at it, like whenever I look up Wacko's Wish, just the movie by itself, one of my trailers pop up for it, and I'm like, what in the world?
Now that's a legacy right
Yeah,
there.
That's definitely something. I don't know what it is, but it's something, all right.
it's just weird. Like you can't really describe like how that feels. It's just kind of like, oh, I exist outside of like my own circle, and people like watch this and like know of this.
I,
which is a really weird feeling.
I've entered the next dimension somehow.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just yeah, I don't know how else to explain it other than it's just surreal to me. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we get it.
Yeah.
So I guess from I don't really have any other questions besides what
Oh,
from
oh.
Brian, did you have something? Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Okay, I wanted to like ask one more thing because I think me and Andrew know the next question we might ask. What advice would you give to younger creators out there starting out like you were?
Just this is gonna be kind of like an obvious, not an obvious answer, but like an answer that I feel like a lot of people would give when they're asked this question. But just keep making stuff. Like that's really it. Just keep going at it. Keep creating stuff. Don't let uh don't let your like I guess distaste for your older stuff that you might like cringe at or whatever. Don't let that like stop you from keep going and like making stuff, because if you let that get to you, then you're just gonna I don't know. I feel like I got in a very bad like feedback loop of like hating my old art. So I was like, oh, if I'm if I hate everything that I've done, that means I was never good at making art. And then I just stopped. And then because of the fact that I stopped, I was like, oh, I've got nothing to show for myself. So can I even call myself like an artist or whatever, or an animator? So
Mm-hmm.
just try not to let that like stop you if you're like really passionate about it and like you really want to continue with like whatever art it is you're making. It doesn't have to be like animation, but just anything that you're making, just like keep going at it. Obviously don't let yourself be burnt out. That's not good. But
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of just I mean that was also like the message of or one of the messages of Blank Canvas. I wanted to include was just like yeah, just keep going at it, just keep improving, cuz you're eventually going to get to a point where you find yourself comfortable with what you're making currently and you don't you don't like cringe at your older stuff. I mean, you still cringe at your older stuff, but not in a way where you're like I hate this or whatever, you know?
I think one of the things that's always resonated with me is that if you look back at your old work and you think that's bad, that means the newer content you're making is good. And I think that's a good thing in my opinion. Like you're making better and better stuff as you go on compared to your old work.
Mm-hmm.
That could just be me. I don't know. But
Most
I
of
think
the time
that's
that's true,
valid.
yeah.
yeah.
There's you know, I'm not gonna name names of course, but there's some times where people have regressed, but you know,
Yeah,
it is
definitely.
whatever. But most of the time, that's not true. That's not how it works. It's most of the
Yeah,
time
exactly.
you are improving, or at the very least, you're finding your style. Because,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, when you find your style, then you're like, I feel like then you can like really get into like a lot of stuff that you want to do, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of stuff that you're like comfortable with.
You finally found your space. You're like, this is me. This is my style, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, pretty wise words. I like
Pretty
that.
yeah. Well said, Renzo. I'm proud of you.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And
thank
Renzo,
you.
I just want to say I think I don't know if me and Andrew have made it obvious enough, but like you really have improved as an artist, and as a longtime fan of like both your work on Flumpty, Animanboy, and just overall your stuff, I'm really happy for you, dude.
Yeah, same
I
here,
just can't.
man.
I just don't know how much I can possibly express that, but I'm
You
really happy for
you've
you.
definitely inspired both of us to make our own YouTube shit.
I mean, dude, if you really, dude, to like give you a perspective on like how much you've affected the world, me and Andrew wouldn't even be the as close as we are today without you, because we met through our Flumpty projects based on your project, because of how much
Oh
we
wow,
love.
really?
That is very true. We met on your server after I announced my reimagined project.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. That's cool. That's cool.
You literally forged our
Yeah.
friendship, and I cannot thank you enough. Thank you.
I really appreciate that. Thank you guys. It's it's something that I don't want to like ever like take for granted of like how I guess stuff like that might affect other people's other people's passion for their own art or whatever, because I don't know, it's like I said, it's weird to me, but at the same time I'm like grateful because it's like this really, it like inspired like you guys and inspired like a lot of other people that have like reached out to me, and it's like that's like I don't know, it's just crazy to me. And yeah, like I don't know, I don't know what else to say other than like yeah, I really appreciate it.
You
And
achieved some sort of
yeah,
world
just
peace.
if only.
If only you did
Honestly,
something.
yeah.
Mhm. Oh, thank you
Honestly,
guys. I mean, that means a lot. Thank you guys.
No
no
problem.
problem. It's kind of like the MathPad effect, really. Like, where you have such an impact on the internet that you don't feel overwhelmed. You just feel like, damn, I actually made a difference out there. Like,
Mhm.
like that type of
That's
feeling.
like
Not the type
not
of
to
feeling where you're like overwhelmed, but like the type of feeling where like you actually feel like you made a difference. You know.
yeah. And that was like it was something that kind of hit me like a little harder, like when I was making like a blank can well even after blank canvas, like when I was when I announced the return of the Adventures of Flumpty and Blam, like seeing all the hype around it and like support was like really crazy to me because I was like because for the longest when I was making it, because I started working on that part since probably like February, early February, and when did I announce it? Like early May? Yeah, early May I announced it.
I remember
And
you were
then
messaging me and you were having me on the edge of my seat. I was scared.
oh yeah, because I drew like a little. Honestly, that circle wasn't even related to Flumpty. I just drew a circle, and then people were like, "Oh my god, it's Flumpty," and I was like, "That's funny."
Was it
And then I
really not
saw
related
like
to
some.
Flumpty? That's surprising.
I
Pure
just kind of
coincidence.
it was just kind of a coincidence, honestly. I just drew a circle, but then but then somebody on Twitter um somebody on Twitter was like, "Oh, is this Flumpty?" And then I responded to them with by drawing like a rectangle to play into that. And they were like and I was like, "Okay, I got to post this to YouTube also." And I don't know. It was kind of funny like people like cuz I also posted a teaser of like the one of the backgrounds that Redman and Owl were in, like that little
Yeah. The one with
yeah,
like all the red candles, not red candles, but you know what I mean.
yeah, like all the blue flames and everything. And I posted that, and obviously that was like, teasing it, but I was like at the time I was like, oh, this is for a secret thing. I can't say what it is yet. I'm saving it for an announcement. And then even on that post, people were like commenting, is like, oh my god, is this Flumpty? I was like, how?
Oh, damn, they're good.
I think
How did you yeah.
I'm pretty sure anything you post, everyone's just immediately like Flumpty.
True. Yeah, maybe.
It's
Because
probably I don't know.
I mean, I did get Flumpty comments on Blank Canvas, which is really
Oh
funny.
my god.
Yeah, you did. I remember when you
Jesus.
posted blank canvas, people were asking, "Where's Flumpty?"
Where's Flumpty, by the way? Like, yeah.
Like
I mean, I don't
this
know
is
if you
not
noticed,
Flumpty.
but yeah. I don't know if you noticed, but it's not Flumpty, and Flumpty hasn't been posted in like 3 years or whatever. So
Hmm.
yeah, about that.
But
I'm
yeah.
sure. Yeah, I'm working on. I can't. I'm not gonna say too much about it. But I'm working on something right now, and I guarantee I'm gonna get comments about Flumpty, like with when I post it,
Definitely,
and
especially with the
yeah,
revival as well. People are gonna be like, "Is this Flump?" Yeah, I bet you could just post a picture of like I don't know a chair, and people are just like Flumpty.
this is Flumpty's chair.
It's
Pretty much.
Flumpty's chair.
The throne of Flumpty.
I got a comment like 2 days after releasing the new Flumpty about somebody asking, "Okay, when is episode 5?" It's like I was
God.
like, I was thinking like that could only happen in like my own like exaggerated like sense of how people would react to it, but no, I legit got a comment
It's
on it, which I thought
real.
was very funny.
Hmm.
My hallucinations are real. Anyways, so I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh,
Oh,
go ahead, Brian.
is it about the? Actually, is it okay if I ask this? 'Cause I think this might be the question you were gonna say.
Go for it.
All right. What me and Andrew especially just want to like really curious on what we want to know. Cap, let me pull it up because I have a bad time remembering this. There you
Let me read my script. Let me read my script. Where's it at?
go. Pretty much.
Two of our last questions is one, what is your plans just from here on out? What's your future plans from here? And do you have anything you would like to say to people who have, liked your videos over the years, I guess?
Honestly, I don't really have plans for the future other than, finishing the Flumpty series, which is very different because that's like a laid out like it's something I already have planned. Like I know what's gonna happen for each episode. I know how the ending's gonna be. I've got some like settings and set pieces like visualized already. I know everything that's gonna happen. I just gotta do it pretty much. Besides that though, I don't really have like any other like specific plans. I'm just gonna like
Just kind of doing
'cause
whatever.
yeah, just do whatever like I guess I can think of at the time because this new video I'm working on is kind of like different to basically every other video that I've made.
Is it a
in, like,
Minecraft gameplay?
Yeah, no, I've already done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's kind of different though, and I guess a part of me is like, oh, I wonder how people are gonna react to this, but I also don't really care because it's like, not that I care, not that I don't care that what people that are following me if they like it or not. I mean more of like I'm not gonna let that affect like what I want this video to be, I guess. Which I should have also said that in like the part of like, anybody out there making art, don't let what other people like don't let other people dictate what your art should be, because if your whole thing is like the only reason why you should make stuff that like directly appeals to people is if you want to be like you want to like blow up and like make a whole bunch of money off of like I don't know, like parody animations or something like that. But I don't know. I personally feel like it just takes away like a lot of your own like voice. And if you have your own like voice and your own like style, people are really gonna like resonate with that, and they're really gonna like stick around for basically whatever you do after that. Like
Reach.
yeah, like honest, and that yeah, that's not just something like for me. That's like with everybody that like has their own like style and like their own aesthetic and their own way of making stuff. You get your fan base, and they become pretty like loyal, honestly. Um, I've seen like a lot of creators that have like really distinct like styles and really distinct like ways of making their videos, and yeah, they don't make like millions of views like every single video or whatever, but they have like a fan base that like is really like obsessed and fixated with their content and stuff like that. And that's because of the fact that they didn't like cater to like they didn't try to cater to everybody or make it so that everybody likes it, because I mean that's
They just made it for their
impossible.
fan
So
base.
it's like, why? Yeah, but at the same time it's like, yeah, just don't get hung up on like what other people might like, because I feel like if you're like you'll find people that like it pretty much, like
Mhm.
people. I feel like honestly I'm gonna do something kind of unheard of. I'm actually gonna praise YouTube for a second. I feel like
Uh-oh.
their
My God.
algorithm is getting better. I feel
Huh.
like on my end, I've been getting like recommended more stuff that I've been like legitimately interested in, and like smaller like animated channels and smaller like YouTubers that just get recommended to me. I'm like, oh my God, this is something that I want to see more of. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like the algorithm now is a lot better than it was in like I don't know 2018 or something like that.
You know what? I think I agree with you on this one because
agree. Yeah.
I've definitely had some new YouTubers pop into my recommended that are now some of my favorites. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I know there's some out there.
Wow.
Yeah.
We got small YouTube creators praising the YouTube algorithm before GTA 6. But like jokes aside, I completely agree with you. I feel like YouTube is overall improving. You
Mhm.
know,
It's doing something.
slowly,
It better stick with it.
but like we can definitely feel that improvement, and I think we should, and I think that's something to be grateful for. Absolutely. You know.
But yeah, but like I said, no like concrete future plans. I'm just gonna make whatever comes to mind, and I hope I don't like take forever. I hope there's not like huge gaps. It kind of became like a running thing in my channel every time I like came back to make a video like once. Like after like 3 years or whatever, I'd be like, new videos coming out soon, and then the gap would be like 3 years or something like that. Um, I did not want the gap between Blank Canvas and Flumpty to be that long, but you know that's just how long it took me to come up with the idea and then make it pretty much. So I don't know.
I don't think it took too long.
Um,
That came out after Blank Canvas, in my opinion.
But like also take your time too, because don't overwork yourself, or else you'll lose that creative spark and go into burnout.
Yeah, you can't rush
Mhm.
art.
oh yeah, Toy Story 2.
Pretty much. You can't
One of
rush up.
You can't
one of the
rush
best-
art.
one of the best scenes in any movie ever.
Agreed.
You can't rush art.
That entire scene is just Renzo cooking up the next Flumpty episode.
Pretty much.
I think what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, the second I realized I haven't been answering the question.
You're fine.
What I would say to like anybody that's been watching, like that's been like an OG, like you, I don't know, like you are, I mean, like I said, just thank you for like watching and like sticking around. It's like again kind of like just surreal to me. I'm not super good at like I guess showing. I want to be better at showing my like thankfulness and like gratitude with a lot of stuff. Um, I hope I hope you understand that. I really do appreciate just anybody that's been watching for a while. Anybody that's watching now that just found out about the Flumpty series or whatever, or just whoever. Just if you're watching, I just thank you, and I don't know. I hope that I was able to like help with um like make a difference with helping you like be more passionate about like whatever art you want to make or whatever. And I feel like I feel like I have. It feels it sounds weird saying that though. It sounds weird saying like, yeah, I made a difference. It's like
But
I don't know.
like
But
I probably think it's true though. At least in my opinion.
I think this is true too. I've seen a couple
yeah.
people like apart from my Reimagine project, which I'm not going to talk about. I've seen other people like reanimate the first episode of Flumpty. Like there was this one that was like completely
Mhm.
like it looked like pencil sketches. I forgot the name of the creator, but it was. I've seen a lot of people like get inspired from your series. Just make those.
Wait, wasn't that mine?
Mhm.
No, it was someone else's. It was like full on
okay.
animated pencil sketches. I can't remember their name. I feel so bad.
I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
And
that one's like really cool. There's a lot of really cool like remakes of that I've seen. They're
There's
like
also,
really really cool. Yeah.
there was also someone who made like a Smash Brothers parody with your character. I'm pretty sure, or am I completely wrong?
Oh yes, I remember that. That was like really surreal to see. I don't know. I was really hyped with that. I mean, I don't play Smash Bros. I suck at it. I'm terrible.
We all do. Don't worry.
But that was really cool because there was a lot of references that were like, you had to like actually watch my videos in order to understand some stuff, like the cloning machine or like
Yeah.
like some very hyper specific stuff. So it's like that was really cool. Shout out to whoever made that. I don't remember her name. I'm sorry, but yeah.
We'll Google it later and put
yeah.
a description or something. I don't know.
I mean, yeah. Shout out to everybody that just made remade like my videos pretty much. Like the first Flumpty video, like I've seen like remakes of that, and they're just all. It's so cool. Like I don't know. They're. I don't know. I can't really say anything else other than this. It's just really cool, and it's really like
Just
I
epic
get
to
really
see.
excited seeing it. Yeah, it's like really like oh my god, this is amazing.
Do you think fan art and fan projects like that inspire you to make more?
It does, yeah, 100%. Like that's kind of yeah, because that's kind of like what built up hype or motivation for myself to continue with Flumpty, or the Adventures of Flumpty and Blam, was seeing like fan art of it, and then when I announced it, I got fan art of it, and it was like so cool to see, and like again, messages of people being like, "Oh my god, this was like." The one comment, the one type of comment that really is like crazy to me is whenever people say, "Oh, you were my childhood." That is like crazy to me because I mean it makes sense because it came out like almost 10 years ago, 9 years ago, but still that's like insane to me because it's like I don't know, like I know a lot of time has passed between them, but like that's kind of I don't know, it's just crazy whenever I see like that comment, which I've seen like quite a few times. Like
You
I've read
raised
quite
the
a few times, and it's
generation.
like I don't know, it's
Again,
just
it's kind of like the map
again
pattern.
a weird.
What'd you say, Brian?
Again,
Map hat is
yeah.
good, yeah.
Matt Pat. We love Matt Pat.
Alright.
Alrighty. Guys, I think we're gonna
Alright.
go ahead and wrap up the episode here, but something did come to my mind I'm burning to ask. Will
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Renzo, will Joe ever return?
I cannot confirm or deny that.
Alrighty. Alrighty, guys. This has
Will
been
Joe return in Secret Wars?
Alright, so go ahead, Renzo.
I don't know.
You don't know?
That's my answer. I don't know.
Alrighty. Well, guys, I think
Alright.
this is a great interview. Thanks, Renzo, for being on
It's-
again. I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me on.
It's a real pleasure. It's a real pleasure, by the way.
Thanks for
having you
indulging
on.
us.
Thanks for having
Thank
me
you.
on.
No problem. Do you want to? You know what, Renzo? Do you want to do our outro? Because why not?
What's the outro?
We don't have an outro. Just say whatever.
And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Is that a good one?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Beautiful. Beautiful.